Junk folder. Promotions tab. Opt-out report for spam. Have you been having nightmares about your email open rate? Well, fear not, mes enfants. Tim from digital marketing agency Exposure Ninja here to give you some help with how to increase your email open rate. So let me guess, you've been sending out your emails. A few years ago, you were getting like 30–40% open rate. You started to notice that drop to maybe 20%. Sometimes now when you send out emails, you're getting like 10–15% open rate. Click-throughs are through the floor. Try saying that 5 times with a mouthful of promotions tab. And you're thinking, what's going wrong? What am I doing wrong? Why is no one reading my damn newsletters? Well, fear not. We're going to talk about how to craft compelling emails and how to write killer subject lines which get your emails opened, read, and acted on. Let's go! Okay, so email open rate is really important, but if you're not getting your emails opened, then they can't be read, and if they're not being read, they can't be acted on, so the whole thing can feel a little bit pointless. And I should also say that we're talking here about business emails, so if you're sending emails to your friends and they're not opening them, that's another problem. Actually, it's not though. Because here's the thing, when you send an email to your friend, you write in personal language. You write as if you're writing to an individual. But often when we're writing a business broadcast email, the tendency can be to go to broadcast email mode, and you get things like, welcome monthly subscribers to the monthly newsletter. In this month's newsletter, we're gonna be talking about the latest news and offers from Business Corp and the new soil pipe installed in the warehouse. And it's just totally boring. So what we really need to do is reset our expectations about how our emails are being received. But first, a quick game. Now I've found that there's 2 types of people out there. There are the inbox 0 people, like my wife, who has to finish the day with no emails in her inbox. And then you have the folk like me, currently sitting on 716,336 unread emails, who have achieved what I like to call notification numbness. Which one are you? Do you like to have a really clean, empty inbox, or are you just completely immune to it and your inbox is a little bit like a Twitter feed? Now, of course, that was just a fun exercise. I mean, fun is subjective. But really the point is to get into the mindset of our audience when we're creating our email. It can be all too easy to fall into the trap of thinking that this is how people are reading our emails. Ooh, an email from Exposure Ninja. Let me get my laptop in my beautiful white kitchen, let me just grab a cup of coffee, and let me just sit down to give it my full undivided attention for as long as it needs. Said no one ever. Instead, here's what's more likely happening. Your email recipients are on the toilet, flicking through their phone. In comes an email. Now in that moment, they're asking themselves, where's the good stuff and what can I safely ignore? These people are in pure deletion mode. If they're inbox 0 folk, they're just gonna be deleting it. Or if they're the notification numbness people, they're going to be ignoring it. But we've got to appreciate that people are only going to interact with your email if there is enough perceived reward in the subject line and the relationship that they have with the sender. So first, the email subject line. Here's a rubbish one. This is from Six Restaurant, which is at the top of Trent Bridge. Fantastic restaurant, amazing place, highly recommend it. But the email's terrible. Here's the email. So I can see that the sender is Six Restaurant and then it's been truncated by Gmail. And then the subject line is, we are award winners. Think about it. I don't care. That's good for you, but what does that mean for me? Imagine the person on the toilet. Oh, Six Restaurant have won an award. Give a... Now, this is not just, it's not great. This is actually negative because most of us use email systems like Gmail that have learning modes built into them. And these learning modes are designed to help us be more efficient with our emails. So for example, if you stop responding to a particular email, you might see it moving into the promotions tab. And then eventually you will get a notification at the top of your email that says, do you want to unsubscribe to Six Restaurant because you haven't opened their emails in a while? So we've got to get out of this mindset, not just because it's neutral, but actually because it's potentially damaging. This is the sort of purely promotional, no benefit implied email that actually reduces our open rate significantly over time. Now, just to contrast this approach, I want to share some of the most effective email subject lines that we've used at Exposure Ninja over the years. So what I did to compile this list was look through our broadcast emails and see which ones got the highest open rate. So I'm going to share them with you now on the screen. An idea, asking for your advice. Regarding video, if your site has lost rankings since August, eat this. My personal favorite, please don't lie to my wife. Sitemaps may not be glamorous, but you need one. Okay, what do we notice about those email subject lines? Actually, with the exception of the sitemaps one, which maybe doesn't follow this rule too much, but the others are all designed to arouse curiosity. They're broad enough that you feel like you have to click on them or at least read the first couple of lines of the email to find out what they're about. But they're also potentially personal, and that makes them very difficult to delete. If someone drops you a personal email saying, hey, I've got an idea for your business, like, what do you think of this? Do you ignore that? Or do you open that? Well, you probably open it because that might have been a personal email from someone and you would appreciate their time and it would feel rude. We are conditioned to reply to emails that are sent us on the whole. Now, excuse me while I disappear into the world of direct response for just a minute. Now, excuse me while I disappear into marketing history for just a minute. There was a great guy called Gary Halbert. Well, he was a great marketer called Gary Halbert. And Gary Halbert was into direct response and in particular direct mail. So he would send out a lot of mail for his clients. Now, he had this concept of the A pile and the B pile. And the story goes like this. When someone receives some post, they have two piles. These might be literal piles or they might be metaphorical piles. They have the first pile, which is the personal communications, the stuff they have to read. And then they have the B pile, which is everything else. So it's the junk that can be safely ignored. And the illustration goes that people are opening their mail over the bin, right? So they're opening it and they're deciding, do I need to read this or is it B pile, in which case it goes in the bin. Now, Gary's goal with his direct mail campaigns was always to get in the A pile. So to make it look sufficiently personal that people felt they had to open it. So I'd encourage you to take this approach with your business. Now, you might be thinking, yeah, but we're B2B, this really wouldn't work for us. Hold on. So is Exposure Ninja. We are B2B, we use exactly this approach. Remember that when you're writing an email to a business customer or a business lead, you're actually not. There's no business that receives email. The only entities that receive email are human beings, and you are still writing to a human being. When I send McDonald's an email, which I really don't do, but let's say that I was to send McDonald's an email, there is not some big McDonald's robot in the shape of two golden arches that's receiving these emails and processing them in a business-like manner. These emails are going to an individual, so they are making exactly these same judgments. A pile, B pile. What do I read? What can I safely ignore? So remember, the job of your email subject line is to get your email read. That is it. The email subject line is not there to sell people on the thing that you're promoting in the email. The job of the subject line isn't to sell people on your business. That's not it at all. It is a headline designed to get your email read. Then the email copy is where you communicate the message. So let's talk about email copy, and in particular, the first couple of lines of email copy and the formatting that you use in your emails, because this is absolutely crucial. Let's say that you've just received an email from Exposure Ninja that says, please don't lie to my wife. Okay, you're like, okay, particularly if you're male, you're like, okay, click on it. Then what happens? Well, now we've got a switch to do, right? I've got to show you how that subject line was relevant to the message in the email, otherwise it's just clickbait. And then I've got to switch and we've got to talk about the real topic of the email. Okay, we're gonna play a game. Second game of this video. You're spoiled. The goal of this game is to work out whether you can safely ignore these emails or whether they might be interesting and relevant to you. Are you ready? Contestant number 1. Firstly, trouble viewing this message, click here. What does that tell us? And Gmail? Promotions. This is not a personally written email, this can safely be ignored. Let's look at the intro. Hello, Tim is practicing, right? So they've just taken the first part of my email address, they haven't even got my name, right? The following items on your wish list are on sale. Okay, so there's a sort of implied relevance there because, I mean, I guess these things are on my wish list. What wish list it is, I have no idea. But this is a dreadful email, okay? Very safe to ignore, complete fail. Here's another one. I love this one. People like you are searching for. So what are they saying here? Well, they're basically saying, you know, you're a generic human unit with certain characteristics. We've just typified you and put you in a blob with all these other morons just like you. And based on your characteristics and behavior, here's some stuff that you might like. Utter garbage. Here's another variation on that, by the way. You asked. So we got this Facebook and website chatbot back on a one-time deal for you. It'll be monthly very soon. Wait. I did not ask. You asked is a mass message to a huge broadcast of people. Don't treat your email subscribers like this big crowd. When you're in a crowd at a gig, you know that you're in a crowd. When you're in a crowd getting emails, you don't know you're in a crowd. This is a personal communication method, so don't talk to people as if they're some kind of big audience, right? People like you. You asked. Lots of you have been asking. Garbage, kill it, rubbish, absolute junk. So when you're writing an email, talk as if you're talking to one person. Be personal. That's how email works. That's why you have a higher open rate from your friends than you do when you're just broadcasting out into the world. Here's a great one. Hi Tim. Doesn't it seem odd that we're already sitting comfortably into February when it only felt like New Year's Eve last week? We certainly think so. We have been busy these last few weeks and today wanted to highlight a few things to you. Okay, let me stop you there. Who cares? Would you write it to a person? Would you write this to an individual? Absolutely not. This is pure broadcast mode. So if you wouldn't write it to one person, don't write it to 50,000. Fail. What about this one? Hey Tim, on Friday afternoon at 4 PM, I'm running a brand new and free online training where I'll be walking you through the simple 3-step marketing campaign I recently used to get 1,400 new leads, 123 new customers, 78k in sales, all with 0 ad spend. Well, this is pretty good. It's personal, it's short, it's to the point. We like. What about this one? Have you seen this man, Tim? Chances are you have, because he's been seen well over 3 million, billion, trillion, 700 and squillion times and counting in just 18 months. The one and only Jay Shetty. It's reasonable. It's a mass broadcast, but there's enough personality and it feels real enough that actually you would read this. We like. Now the other thing that you might notice about these personal emails is that they come through in what looks like plain text. So they are written just as if you were writing to one of your friends. Now what you'll tend to find if you adopt this approach is that firstly, your emails will be much more reliant on the message and the copy. If you're writing in this way, then what you're not going to be doing is just sending out a newsletter full of just stacks of images and links to blog posts. That's not the sort of thing that people tend to engage with anyway, so that's okay. But the second thing that will happen is you'll notice that you find yourself less in the Gmail promotions tab. As soon as you start richly formatting your emails, then it looks like a promotional email because your friend doesn't send you an email that says, hey, Tim is practicing, here are the items on your wish list that are on sale. Now, obviously, plain text emails aren't right for everyone. We wouldn't expect an email from Amazon to say, hey, Tim, it's Jeff here. I've got some recommendations for you because I was looking through our user stats and noticed that you bought a fantastic book called How to Get to the Top of Google in 2021. That would just be weird. So obviously, there are restrictions to this. And for many businesses, for example, e-commerce, if they don't have a personality or a figurehead at the front of the business, then taking an HTML route can make a lot of sense. But if you want to increase your open rate and you want to maximize the chance of engagement with your emails, then usually we've found taking a kind of plain text approach is the way to go. Alright, so here's some more tips for writing your emails. And remember, if you can write your emails in a way that keeps people opening them, that's going to improve your open rate, and it's also going to give them more chance of landing in the primary inbox of your recipients. So, first up, write in a personal style. Remember, always write your mass broadcast as if you're writing to a single person. You might need to choose a character in the business. For example, at Exposure Ninja, the character is Tim. So Tim will write the kind of mass broadcast emails most of the time, and it gives people a chance to build a relationship with an individual character in the business. If you follow Digital Marketer, then Ryan Dice was always the character at the front of that. People know Tesla, people know Elon Musk, right? right? It's much easier for people to build a relationship, and I don't mean like a close personal relationship, but I mean a perceived close personal relationship with a person rather than just a company. So if there is a character or if there is a central figurehead that you can use in the business, it's a good idea to write from that so that you can build a bit more of a personal relationship. So I hope that has helped. I hope that's given you some ideas for your email subject line and also your email copy and the style of the emails that you're sending out. I actually had a great question from someone this week where they said my email open rate has gone down. It started at 20%, it's now 10%, and nobody is using the free voucher that I send out each week in my email. I said, okay, well, you're sending out the same voucher every week. What else are you sending in this email? Well, it's basically a list of all the stuff that we have in stock. You know, the obvious issue with that is nobody's going to open the same email that's sent every week, and if there's no personality, there's no greater reason they should open it this week than they did last week when they probably didn't open it, which explains why the open rate is just continuing to go down. So be personal, consider trying to add as much value as you possibly can to your audience through your emails, and I hope that helps. We have other videos coming soon in this series about what sorts of things to send to your email subscribers so that you can start building up that relationship and also turn some of those subscribers into leads and sale for your business as well. So stay tuned for that. Now, I also wanted to let you know that at Exposure Ninja, we have an email marketing service where we do this stuff for our clients, i.e. we write and construct and plan and implement email marketing campaigns for our clients. These emails that we write can take a few forms, from being indoctrination sequences that run alongside and are designed to educate and inform your customers into doing business with you, to helping automate some of your sales pipeline follow-up as well. So if you're interested in working with Exposure Ninja, we offer a free marketing plan, which you can request from our website. So just go to exposureninja.com and then you'll see the button to request your review and plan. Click on that, fill in a bit of information about your business, and if we think that we can help, we'll let you know. And by the way, if you're not already, then please consider subscribing and turning the little bell icon so you get notifications when we post the later videos in this series. Please also drop us a comment. I'm curious to know, what's a real turn-off for you in email subject lines? Let us know in the comments and we can build up a bit of a database to help other people who are doing their email marketing.